Hi Tom, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you hear me okay?
I sure can. Wonderful. How are you tonight?
Good, good. A lot of things going on. So,
Hmm,
um,
I
trying,
bet.
trying to give so just give me a couple minutes. Let me finish getting ready, and we'll wait for
Please take
everyone
your
to.
time. Okay.
Much for being here.
Oh, absolutely. I'll turn my camera back on and my audio in a moment.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Hi, Tom. I'm
Hey,
Emily Barth from OAG. I just wanted to introduce myself.
awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Did I send it to you earlier? Because I just resent it to you to get it because I wasn't sure if I had sent it to you earlier.
No, I did register earlier, but yes, thank you for resending it. Always appreciate a reminder. Thank you.
It's been one of those days, so I'm glad you're here.
And
Hi,
hi,
Emily.
hi.
Anitra, yeah, Anitra Shakur from the DC Bar Pro Bono Center.
Great. Good to see you. Are you presenting as well?
I am. Uh-huh.
Okay, great. Um,
Ladies, we'll
we
start in a couple
correspond
minutes.
by a lot of emails. I don't think I've ever seen your face before, so
Yeah,
good
same.
to good to see you.
Absolutely. And Tom, I just gave you a flyer. I couldn't prepare anything from
It's
last
fine.
night. So, all right.
Yep. No problem. I'll make sure to get it up.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. We'll start and once everyone starts getting in.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Is your preference just for us to talk? Would you prefer slides? Like, does
If you
it?
have, if you have a slide that you want to send over, you're welcome to send it. It's pretty laid back. This commission really hasn't had regular single member district meetings in quite some time. So this is my third meeting. So we're still pushing along and getting to meet new people, more people. And as we do that, more people will start coming to the meetings. But I mean, we had like 45 the first meeting in January. It's been pretty good. It's progressing. So either
The,
way, I record it and then also I make it available up on our website as well. So
okay, I'll send you a quick email with some things that might be helpful to put up. Thank you.
sure, either that or you can also share your screen, whichever is best for you if you want to move it along yourself or whatever's best for you.
Great. I can share. I think that would probably be easier. Thank you.
That would be great. Thank you so much.
And Tom, after we present, did you want us to hang around or
Totally up to you, not required, as long as you give an opportunity for people to ask any questions or anything that may come up, in the chat. So I'll try to monitor the chat while you're presenting.
okay.
Uh, but you can present. We can look at the chat, make sure there's any questions or correspondences that people are talking about. And then when you feel like it's enough that you've covered enough and that's kind of quieted down, you're welcome to leave or stay. It's totally up to you.
Sure. Thank you.
Awesome.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for the note about being on mute. I appreciate it. It happens to us all. Once again, I'll introduce myself. My name is Tom Donahue. I am the ANC Commissioner, Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner for 8A01, which is basically runs from Nicholson Street, which is just next to a block over from Boone Elementary, all the way down to 16th Street, which is runs alongside of Anacostia High School. I do not, Anacostia High School is not in my district. It's in Commissioner Foreman's commission or single member district, but it runs right up 16th Street to R Street. I want to welcome everyone and thank you for attending. We have a couple of guests that I invited to speak with us tonight. And again, just as a reminder, we may not have as big of a group as we'd like tonight. However, they are recorded and they're available on our website for people to watch. And I do know that people do watch it afterwards. Some people couldn't be here tonight that had reached out that said, "Oh, we won't be able to make it." So no problem. We've just wanted to also note that next month, in April, we will not be having a full commission meeting. We have the month off. The commission decided we have to meet 9 times a month. And the full commission, which is the full 7 commissioners that make up our commission. Our meeting is considered a single member district meeting. And then there's a full commission meeting, which is the 7 commissioners who get together to actually make votes and decisions that will directly affect you. That will not be meeting in May, however, or in April. However, we will be meeting in April. I believe it's the 22nd, if I remember off the top of my head. So with that said, I brought some guests on board and wanted to bring one of them on. I think that this is really important because so many times we look for assistance or we find ourselves in a situation where you just need help, whether it's trying to talk something out or whether it's that legal side that, you think you may know what you're talking about because you watch all these law and crime videos and things and you think you got it. However, you'd be surprised that often we find ourselves not understanding the law and not being able to speak the law and not being able to type the law, like the different things I have tried in the past to represent myself in civil litigation, and you quickly begin to understand and have a much higher respect for those who are in the law industry, lawyers, attorneys, mediators. So I thought this would be a great topic for this week, for this month's meeting, is basically take the law route. And as I become, as I meet people through being a commissioner, those resources should also become your resources too. So I wanted to introduce 2 of our speakers. Emily Barth, who is the Assistant Attorney General. She's with the Office of the Attorney General Mediation. And what I didn't realize, I knew that there was this department, but I didn't realize that they offer their services to district residents unrelated to maybe what you might be required to do in court. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So I thought I would invite her in and have her speak to us as well. And Anitra with the DC Bar. And she's an attorney that actually they've started doing every other month intakes and here in Southeast DC, and she's going to talk to you about that. So between the 2 of them, in fact, before they got on, they were saying how much they've talked back and forth to each other, but her and Emily had never actually met. So I'm glad that your commissioner can unite them and see how allow them the opportunity to actually meet in person. So we don't have a big crowd tonight, but there's enough there, and we'll make sure to upload it online so people can watch it as well. So Emily, we'll start with you. I guess we'll go with what makes sense. And if you need me to share anything or if you need me to do anything, let me know.
Great. Thank you. My name is Emily Barth. I am an attorney at OAG in the Office of Consumer Protection. I've been there for about 4 years. I have always practiced in DC. And I work a lot with our OAG mediation program. OAG's mediation program tries to help consumers and tenants resolve complaints with businesses and landlords without going to court. And it's a completely free service. We operate under the umbrella of DC's Consumer Protection Procedures Act, which is a very broad remedial statute, like many consumer protection statutes are. But DC's statute is special in that tenants are also considered consumers. And this means that we can help try to resolve complaints with landlords, including building conditions complaints, security deposit returns, lease break requests. It kind of runs the gamut. And landlord tenant complaints have become the biggest category of complaints that our office receives. So some other kind of issues that we routinely receive requests for help with are billing disputes, just kind of very basic things where you state that you thought you were going to pay X amount for a service, but you're being billed a different amount. Account cancellation requests. We routinely see this with phone or internet service providers where you think you've canceled a service, but you continue to see those monthly charges on your bills. Disputes with home contractors or other businesses that you contract to come in to your home to do work, and then you state the work is not done or it's not done to the quality that you expect. We also have a direct contact with Meta, and we can help with social media lockouts on Meta's platform. So we often receive complaints where people have been locked out of their Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, what have you. We can try to get those accounts unlocked and get consumers access to those again. And we also receive a lot of scam complaints. We can try to help people recover money when they've been the victim of some sort of financial fraud. The best way to get in contact with our office is to call us. We have a hotline, and I'll put the information in the chat and also share our materials with Commissioner Donahue to share with everyone if after the meeting. But we have a hotline. It's 202-442-9828, and that's staffed Monday through Friday. We prioritize certain tenant issues, including all losses of utilities or loss of heat or air conditioning when it is the landlord's responsibility to provide that utility or that service. With those sorts of requests, we'll reach out to the responsible party the same day and try to get the utility restored. Or we can also help tenants pursue interim requests, like requests to go to a hotel until, for example, the heat is restored or the AC is restored, extra space heaters for folks that don't want to go to a hotel or leave their unit for whatever reason. We can also help tenants put in Department of Buildings Housing Code inspection requests to start the process of documenting and creating a public record of the issue. And that's the same for mold, for example. We will help tenants put in their Department of Energy and Environment, DOEE, mold complaint request forms, and to get in touch with the Department of Health if there are outdoor rodent or other vector control issues. We also have an online complaint form. That's the best way to get connected with a staff member. That complaint form is screened by our intake paralegal. Our jurisdiction to help is very broad. We can help when the consumer is a DC resident or the business is located or headquartered in the district. For building conditions complaints, the tenant must be a DC tenant. Once the complaint is assigned, a staff member will reach out to the consumer or tenant to set up a time to talk to make sure that we understand your complaint, and also to make sure we have all the relevant information, for example, the contract, the communications, the lease agreement. And then we draft a letter from the consumer or tenant's perspective, and we send that letter to the company on your behalf. Our preference is to email the letter so the company gets it quickly, and we request a response within 10 business days, and we share that response with the consumer. Our process is voluntary, meaning we won't compel or force a specific response, but we have good outcomes in getting responses from businesses. And our role is to try to help the tenant and consumer and business kind of reach a resolution outside of court, if that's possible, right? Court is expensive, it's time consuming, it can be intimidating, it's rather slow. And this process kind of helps both parties hopefully get to an agreeable solution without having to go through that process. Just for example, in calendar year 2023, we responded to close to 3,500 complaints and were able to return close to $1.2 million to consumers. In calendar year 24, we responded to over 8,000 complaints and still returned $1.2 million to consumers. We don't monetize a lot of the tenant work that we do. We don't think there's a good way to put a money or a dollar amount on like helping someone resolve their building conditions issues. But it is the largest bucket of work that we do, and I think has a lot of value for our neighbors who may be at an impasse with their property to trying to get habitable conditions in their unit. I'll take a pause and I'd welcome any questions just to kind of get any feedback or answer any specific questions folks may have.
Yeah, so let me just chime in. I think often we don't necessarily think about, having a third person or a third entity sort of be able to help us. Sometimes we are so committed to, believing that we're right or that somebody else is wrong, that we're so passionate that that it's hard to come to sort of an agreement. So, having your office, can you talk a little bit about how your office in general, because this isn't a service that is offered to most people in other states, I would assume. How does it, how is it when, I'd also say is when they get a letter from your office, I would assume that most businesses or companies or other people look at it as, this is a pretty weightful letter coming from a distinguished office as your office. Does that help in pursuing and getting accomplish your goals?
I guess like in order, I think most state AG offices, if not all, do mediate consumer complaints. But because DC is a smaller jurisdiction, one advantage is that we have the capacity at this point to reach out to consumers and tenants directly and to better understand their complaint, to have that personal connection. And also, right, for like the utility disconnection complaints or other priority complaints, we have the capacity to act quickly to try to address those in a very like nimble fashion. Where I think like, for example, I recently learned last year Pennsylvania received 38,000 complaints. Right, they must address those in a very different manner than we do here. OAG mediation is different than OAG enforcement matters, and we don't imply otherwise. I think our program is very special, and we want to be really clear about why and like under what guise we're reaching out to businesses. And so I do see Ms. Hudson's question in the chat, and I'll get to that in just one moment. But I think that it never hurts to have a letter on OAG letterhead reaching out to a business on your behalf. I think it certainly helps and doesn't hurt. To Ms. Hudson's question, do you all assist housing providers with housing provider versus tenant issues? No, we operate under DC's Consumer Protection Procedures Act, which is limited to consumer merchant transactions. And so we operate under that guise. So, but we will always provide relevant referrals. There are some resources in the district for housing providers, including at Anitra's office, DC's nonprofit and small business section does provide free legal advice to small landlords and small businesses in the district. which might be able to help with Ms. Hudson's question. DC's Landlord Tenant Legal Assistance Network, LTLAN, which is a group of 6 direct legal service providers in the district, including the DC Bar Pro Bono Center, also provides free legal advice to small landlords in the district.
Well, I think that is a great sort of slide right into the Bar Association and the Ms. Anitra. And if we have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and Ms. Barth can take a look at and respond if necessary. But to move it along, could you repeat that last acronym? What was the last acronym?
Sure. It's LTLAN, Landlord Tenant Legal Assistance Network.
Wow. Also want to give a shout out to Miss Hudson. She recently opened or started several apartments, opened new apartments on 22nd Street. Just received all of her green lights to open up, and so we congratulate her as a member of our community, within our ANC. So she's got great things moving ahead, and I think soon we're gonna invest in have her come in and talk to us a little bit about her organization and what she's doing, because she's doing some amazing things right here in ANC 8801. So that's a heads up, Miss Hudson. I appreciate you being on tonight. And Anitra, it's all up to you. So when you get that notice in the mail and you're being sued and you have no idea what to do and you think you can do it alone, you probably can't. And so we turn to the Pro Bono Center, and that's where we pick you up and say, what kind of resources do you have that can assist all of our our citizens and our here in Southeast?
Absolutely. Thank you, Tom. If you wouldn't mind putting up our flyer for the Advice and Referral Clinic. So hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening virtually. My name is Anitra Ashakur, and I am the Managing Attorney of Consumer and Bankruptcy Law for the DC Bar Pro Bono Center. The DC Bar Pro Bono Center is the largest provider of pro bono services in the district. I'm here with you to talk with you about our Advice and Referral Clinic. You should see our flyer on the screen. I manage this program. This pro bono clinic is held once every month, with the exception of August and December. We host the clinic on Saturdays, and we are rotating this year and probably beyond between our Northwest location at the DC Bar and our Southeast location at Thurgood Marshall Academy Public Charter High School. The dates of the upcoming clinics are on the screen. So this is an in-person walk-in free clinic. No pre-registration is required. There are no income guidelines. Anyone with a civil legal matter governed by DC or federal law is welcome to come on in. Our attorneys, our volunteer attorneys, provide brief legal services that could be helping to do drafting a complaint, I should say, drafting an answer, a motion to dismiss. We provide legal advice, and in some instances, we provide referrals to other legal services providers, sometimes for full representation, and sometimes because we find that a person can be better serviced by another organization. We don't handle immigration matters at this clinic, nor do we handle criminal matters at this clinic. Our volunteer attorneys are absolutely excellent at what they do. So I'd like each of you to keep us in mind should an issue arise that you need legal consultation on. Certainly spread the word. Again, we are every other month. The next clinic is April 26th in Southeast at Thurgood Marshall. So I just wanted to briefly describe what we do at this clinic. And For instance, the matters that we assist on include housing, employment, consumer, civil rights, probate, family issues, divorce, custody. Consumer issues include bankruptcy matters. I also manage our full representation Chapter 7 bankruptcy clinic. And I welcome any questions from anyone about our program.
So in order for you to be part of your team or team of volunteers, I would say these are everyday attorneys that may have their own practice here in DC and that are actually practicing and want to give back to our community. How many volunteer attorneys do you say you have about?
You are correct, Tom. These are attorneys from the private sector, from big law firms, solo practitioners, and then attorneys from the federal government. This past Saturday, we held the clinic at the DC Bar, and I staffed 64 attorneys. So we had 64 attorneys, we had 15 law students from the area law schools who conducted intake. We have federal government paralegals who come over from the federal government pro bono program. Each month we have a visiting judge that comes out and really inspires our volunteers. It's really important work. This clinic will be celebrating its 30th anniversary soon. So it's been around for a long time. During the pandemic, we went virtual. I've been with the DC Bar Pro Bono Center for about 2.5 years. And when I came, it was my job to bring the clinic back in person. And that's what I've done with the help of everyone over at the DC Bar. So we're very excited. And again, we're excited to be back in Southeast. So we're rotating the clinic. Well, we'll see how that goes. But just wanted to spread the word. Mhm.
Yeah, no, when I saw that you guys were hosting your clinics here in Southeast, I knew it was definitely something I wanted to highlight and wanted our constituents to be aware of, because it is really a great program and resource to everybody here in Southeast. Ms. Hudson said, is there a time limit or a limited number of contacts for discussions?
That's a great question. So I should have mentioned that. So intake for visitors, our intake is between 10 a.m. and 12 noon. So you have to be in the building by 12 noon in order to, you are guaranteed to see an attorney that day. The earlier folks arrive, the better. It could get pretty crowded. Last Saturday, we had a total of 79 visitors. But all 79 folks were able to meet with an attorney, again, with a civil issue. So you're in by 12 noon, you're guaranteed the ability to sit with an attorney.
And she also said, can you choose which attorney you'd like to talk with?
The answer to that is no, no, we don't. Yeah, so folks come in, they sign in, they undergo intake, and then an attorney will come and grab them from the client waiting room. But all of the attorneys are competent, they're licensed, and ready to serve. We have at the clinic expert lawyers in each of these practice areas. I have, for instance, housing is our most popular area of law that we see at the clinic. So I have about 5 or 6 housing expert lawyers that are there to advise volunteer lawyers that may not be as versed in housing. So we ensure that the advice that we're giving, that the services that we're giving are sound.
So we have a question from one of our constituents, Robin. You're welcome to show your video or just unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good evening, everyone. My question is the program income restricted? Yeah, that's my question.
Great question.
Yeah, that's a great question. No, it is not. This is like our catch-all program, so anyone is welcome. There are no income guidelines or restrictions at this clinic. Again, it's a civil clinic, so and we have a separate immigration program, so we don't see immigration matters here. And then we don't handle criminal matters, but anything civil related, the practice area should be at the bottom of the flyer. But again, housing, employment, civil rights, health, um, probate, debt collection and bankruptcy, all those kinds of issues we see. No income restriction or guideline.
And I have another question. Oh, Tom just dropped it in the chat, the flyer. So that's perfect.
Okay,
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
you're very welcome.
Ms. Bars, I saw that you put your camera back on. Did you want to chime in on anything?
Yeah, there's also no income restrictions for OAG's like mediation help either. You just must be a DC resident or the business is located or headquartered in the district.
Okay, great to know. Great to know. Thank you for that. And so you say you don't, just in case there are resources, since you don't handle anything criminal, are there resources out there that are available for those who are seeking themselves or are facing some sort of criminal charge?
That's a great question. The only one that I'm aware of, I believe it's the Georgetown University Legal Clinic. I believe they handle criminal matters there. Please double check you all, but I do believe Georgetown has a legal clinic that helps with criminal issues.
And sorry, I also have an answer to that. Sorry. I used to be a public defender at the Public Defender Service in DC, and they also have a duty day clinic and they've resumed walk-in hours. Or you can call which are on their website. And you can call 202-628-1200 to get free legal advice from them as well.
And this is exactly why I brought you both on the same day. Thank you very much for chiming in and letting us know that. For either one of you, or if there's any other questions among the group, please raise your hand or chime in. What has been your biggest challenge? I know with getting through COVID, what challenge do you see the most from area residents?
Well, I'll start again with the advice and referral clinic. It's brief services. We do our very best. I mean, again, we can do complaints, we can help with answers, motions to dismiss, but it is brief services. There are times when a person comes in and they really need full representation. We're not able to accommodate that. But we certainly do what we can in the time allotted. It's a one-day clinic. So in that appointment, in that, let's say, hour time span is when we're really doing all that we can to help someone with their legal issues. So that's our greatest challenge, not being able to do more. But we certainly invite folks back if they need additional assistance.
So folks shouldn't expect that after your 2 hours or after the 2 hours are done, they're going to continue to represent you or do any other work for you unless you come back on another day for the clinic.
Correct. It's it's a walk-in, in-person clinic, one-day clinic. But folks are always invited to come back if they have additional questions or a new matter that they'd like assistance with.
Is there a resource available in our community where people could or there's a listing where they can make a pitch about their own case to get more, longer representation? Or is there a place where, there's a listing of people who are willing to at least be heard, where somebody thinks that they would like to have that representation more longer term?
I definitely want to clarify that this is just one program. The DC Bar Pro Bono Center does have full representation programs as well. I don't manage, like for instance, our advocacy and justice program. That's full representation. So I would encourage folks to go to the DC Bar Pro Bono Center website to get a full listing of what we provide. I do manage our bankruptcy full representation clinics. So if someone comes into the advice and referral clinic and they're overwhelmed with debt, and based on their income, because there is a income restriction for our full representation bankruptcy clinic, but we've often referred, or my volunteer attorneys have referred those with debt issues to my full representation bankruptcy clinic. So depending on the type of matter, we're sometimes able to refer in-house, and then in other instances, outhouse, because there are other legal services providers that provide full representation. So that's why we call it the advice and referral clinic.
We had a question from our chat from Ms. McDuffie. She says, can a DC resident seek representation for a case in Maryland or Virginia? And do you serve strictly DC or the DMV? Can a DC resident seek representation for a case in Maryland or Virginia?
I know Emily is going to want to chime in as well. For my program, the issue must be rooted in DC or federal law. So no, you wouldn't want to come to the advice and referral clinic if your case is in Maryland or Virginia or someplace else. Okay, but when I say federal, if it's a civil rights issue, then you come on out and you can speak with one of our civil rights attorneys. Bankruptcy is federal, but you would have to be filing in the bankruptcy court located in DC.
Yeah, for the purposes of OAG's mediation, if you're a DC resident, just as a big picture thing, we do not provide individual representation. OAG never represents individuals. But if you would like to try to resolve your complaint through the mediation process, if you're a DC resident and your complaint involves a Maryland or Virginia business, we can try to assist because the DC's consumer protection statute is very broad. We'll also, though, provide relevant referrals to try to point the person in the right direction. And often, if your issue is in Maryland or Virginia, a good place to start is with the Attorney General's office in that state or jurisdiction. They often have very relevant information on their website, or with like Maryland's Bar Association or Virginia's Bar Association, similar to the DC Bar Pro Bono Center, have similar resources as well.
Awesome. I think both of you have provided us a lot of information, a lot of really good information, because you just never know when you're facing a problem, or when a problem comes and faces you, and you don't know where to turn or don't know what to do. It can be a very scary and frightening path forward. Biggest thing I'm sure both of you would admit to is don't ignore it, but make sure to get involved and look at the resources, and you both are great resources that even if you don't necessarily represent that particular problem for constituent, I'm sure you have ways of referring others to different opportunities and resources throughout the community. So thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for representing our community and helping our community continue to fight back. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tom.
I'll let you. You're welcome to continue to stay on. I'm just going to move forward with a couple of things within our community. So thank you again for being here, and hopefully we'll chat with you again soon. Okay, so one thing I was thinking about is I am going to move away. We are going to move away from in-person or the Zoom meetings. I'm just in the background, I'm trying to negotiate or trying to make sure that can happen. This is taking a little bit slower than everything. And then, of course, this month we had Alexander Gardens come up. But let's start, before I go there, with our very first cleanup day. I was very excited to see folks come out for our cleanup day. And bear with me a second. I will try. Whoops. Let me try to get some pictures. I think I have. So here's one of the pictures that I had up. This is 17th Place. This was all strewn with garbage. It's right off of Q Street here in Southeast. One of my biggest challenges and frustrations has been with the trash. For instance, I had put one of these onto the newsletter last night. But this is sort of a before and after. This corner continuously has trash, and the front of this property also contained basically they had 2 windows that were not there anymore. And so, and I had looked back through Google, the Google videos in the car that rides around, and the one window had been there like that for quite some time. So, unfortunately, what that does is it does provide opportunity for squatters to go in, and this was all sort of prompted by the trash issue. This trash issue was basically right behind. It's the same building if you see in the background there. And so I knew that this was an important sort of area that I wanted to focus on to try to get this trash issue battled down. The problem with the trash issue is, and where I can use help with from the community, is identifying properties that don't have a regular collection receptacles. So landlords, especially over 4 and over, 4 units and more, are responsible for the collection of trash. And so there must be in this area properties that don't have trash collection, so that people don't know what to do with their trash, and they discard it illegally. And yes, that would be considered illegal. Throwing it in the alley or throwing it somewhere where it doesn't belong not only is disgusting, it smells, it causes rats. It's a problem. And so it is, we had this property cleaned up once, and then 2 days later there was trash there again. And so, putting trash out and throwing trash out just wherever you want it is not acceptable. It's not acceptable for anybody to have to deal with it, to see it, to smell. So I am going to be, laser focused on assuring our community that things like this are going to be addressed. Just right out in front of my own apartment, somebody dropped carpet and the padding, the foaming, right out in front of my own apartment. And so, I will immediately, start the process of the city getting involved, taking our investigator will come out and investigate, or inspector will investigate it. They'll try to find the sources of it, why it's being put there, how it's being put there. In some cases, the property owner will be cited if necessary. But just know that, and this is one of the things I'm really proud of, is I didn't realize how much of a problem this was, and how many people are dedicated within the district to rectify it. We literally have it, and as soon as I put the 311 request in, which again I think anybody can do. If you are unfamiliar with the 311 program, I strongly suggest that you become familiar with it. It takes literally 2 minutes to get on the app, put a request in, take a couple pictures if you want, and it will immediately indicate to our inspector to go out and take a look at it. She will determine what needs to be done, whether it needs to be, the street needs to be cleaned, whether it needs to be picked up. So, and it may take a couple days to a week or so for the resources to, to actually, for this to happen and them to abate it. But rest assured that they're also, notating how the frequency, where it might be coming from, who might be responsible, and if necessary, even trying to put cameras up to identify who's throwing it there, because this is something that should be preventable. If for some reason your property, you do not have trash removal or receptacles, please contact me. We will look to see who the property owner is and what needs to be done, and hold the property owner accountable. This is nothing. Nobody wants to smell your dirty child's diapers, or and I understand it, that if you have nowhere to put it and your property owner is required to get rid of it or to take care of the trash, then I don't mind dropping a call and starting to have make that happen. this property owner, I am very happy with, because they had somebody, he had somebody on the property that was sort of kind of helping cleaning up. And I had, out and about, I ran into this person, and he had said, I said, can you please get get me in touch with the property owner? And, a week or so later ago, I got a phone call from this property owner, and I was surprised and elated. We had a really great conversation about the community and about the neighborhood, and how it's right super close to Kramer. And I was concerned about the windows being broke out, and they had it's clear that because I also had an inspection done on this property, I could also go get inside and notice that the door to those two broken windows, and they were literally cleared away so that you could see that people were coming in and out. That the door was unsecured as well. So, they did a really good job at cleaning up the trash. He's actually is paying somebody inside the unit to continue to clean up the trash as it amounts, and has boarded up the windows. So these are the things that make our community, our neighborhoods better. When we can board up the windows to a unit where people could be going in and doing whatever the case might be, it makes people feel unsafe. It is unsafe, and having property owners that are willing to address those issues and do it right away is greatly appreciated. This unit no longer has squatters or anybody going in and being on a property that they're not supposed to be. The garbage has been cleaned up and has been doing a pretty good job at keeping it clean. Q Street is Q Street right by Kramer. We're going to continue to work on. I've identified some of the neighbors out there that are, there's one gentleman that has been really great. I think that has desires to it's the street that he lives on as well, and really wants to see that it gets cleaned up. We'll continue to work on it, and we're going to talk about doing another community day. But these are small bits of progress, and one thing at a time, we'll make progress. And so I'm grateful for those who came out, and we turned what was there was trash all over these properties. And a lot of these properties are in the process of being, they're going to gut the inside and they're going to rebuild them. And so having people live there will also be helpful as well. But, it's definitely been my biggest frustration and challenge. But one property at a time, one community member at a time, we will battle it down. Let me make sure I want to make sure that the question, so I can see anybody's questions. Okay, good. So that's been really good about that. Turning into Alexander Gardens, this is on 18th, 1600 block of 18th Street, I think. Yeah. This property has five different buildings on it, and has I went there early on once I got sworn in, kind of out introducing myself and things, and started hearing from people that the conditions of the units were less than desirable. And so I later found out that there were 2 units actually condemned. Now, this is a property manager who or property that the owner of this property also owns other properties, and it's clear that they have people working for them. I mean, this is not a matter of not having resources or anything like that. And so it was potentially a property manager issue. And so when I found out that 2 of the units were condemned, and that the property manager had permitted one of the tenants to return before it had been re-inspected, I mean, literally the orange sticker was still on the front door of the apartment unit. And found out that that gentleman had since passed away inside the unit. That I immediately turned to calling for a community meeting. There's no indication at this point that the condition of the unit had anything to do with the gentleman's death. However, it was enough for me to reach out to their family and start being more aggressive and trying to get in touch with the property owner or the property manager. I had left multiple messages. I had literally gone to the property and left a physical note on her office door, and hadn't heard anything until the day of the reinspection of the unit where the gentleman had passed away. And that's when I took a opportunity to speak with the property manager and inform. I had just put a dare to be. I had just put up signs. In fact, she didn't even know about it because she had not been to the property, which is one of the complaints of the constituents. And so I had the opportunity to really sort of have a discussion with her, along with the daughter of the gentleman who had passed away, and that started a chain of events where during our community meeting that we held in person and online, the community was talking about all the concerns that I had collectively heard from other tenants, and a gentleman had chimed in who was a representation of the property management company. So, and we have had multiple conversations, or emails back and forth. I have a follow-up meeting with him on Friday, and the property is starting to feel and see the effects of their own work, them speaking out and talking to somebody, and that's how we affect change in our communities, is relying on the resources that we have available. And so I'm really happy to say that the property has been cleaned up. All all of the leaves have been collected, and slowly but surely, I think that they've informed me that as of April 1st, there will be. That was weird. I don't know if that came across, but we had a power surge or something quickly. But anyway, April 1st, there will be a new property manager, and it looks like they're putting together a comprehensive plan to sort of get back and realign with the tenants and things. So, and we're talking about, these are tenants in this unit, in this building, that have been living there for years, like 10, 20, 30 plus years. And so it was amazing to hear some of the stories from some of them, but also sad to hear how a recent turn of ownership has really changed the way that the property was taken care of. And so, with the expectations from a lot of them, from how the property was handled prior to this new company taking over, they really had a lot to share. So, I'm thankful for the property management company who is taking those steps to hopefully rectify things and create a better environment for the tenants. So here's just a couple of random things that I'm thinking about, updates. The property's on 1409 22nd Street. Before I even do that, I would like to acknowledge the storage unit container place on Fairlawn, the corner of Fairlawn and 22nd Street. They have recently taken over new ownership. It's called something different now. It's not coming to me, but they took their sign down. There's a new sign up. But I've gone in there a couple of times because we had a constituent issue in there, and so I went in and introduced myself and shared a couple of concerns. They have done a tremendous job at cleaning the property up. There was a bunch of tall grass, weeds, trees, whatever you want to call it, behind the building, and then what I'll call flower boxes around the front were just out of control and looked terrible. They have cut them all down and have done a really good job. I know one of the neighbors adjacent or next to it have expressed that they're happy the fact that it's not an area that rats and stuff can hide in anymore. They've really done a really good job. So plus it makes the neighborhood look much better. The property right next to it is vacant. It's 1409 22nd Street. It's the same developer that has worked on other projects in the neighborhood, who is challenging at times. They had erected a fence in the front and the back of the property that they didn't have permits for. However, obstructs the view of the neighbor directly next to it. So when she's coming down her front steps, she can't see what's coming down the sidewalk because the poorly erected fence, and it's just basically plywood that's been put up, is so high that she can't see it. Plus, they didn't have permits for the fence, so the fence is now rotting, and parts of the fence has fall down onto the sidewalk. Let me see if I can show you a picture of that. No, I don't have that. Sorry, thought I did. And so that had caused some concerns for the fact of how the condition of the fence, and then the developer also put a bunch of stuff along the side of her house and various things like that. So having some knowledge of this particular developer, he really doesn't work with ANCs at all, and he's frankly a bit difficult to work with. So I'm continuous. I had sent him a text. He did get the fence sort of off the ground and back up, but it's still not. It's all buckled, and it's still not necessarily the safest thing. So it's hard to do. It's hard to to work with people that don't have much care about how it currently looks and what they're doing. But I'm hopeful that I'll continue to work on the relationship, because it is going to be a lengthy relationship that will sooner or later begin some construction, and I really want to be able to work with him, because once that construction does start, the neighbors for 22nd Street and surrounding areas are going to be challenged with parking and various other challenges as that construction gets underway. I think the last time I had checked it was like 42 units or 32 units or something like that. And so that's very concerning, especially as difficult as it's been working with him on other projects. And I was just a regular citizen at the time. There's several buildings right on Young Street that are, one is in the process, there's a fence around it. They had picked up the trash around the bottom of the fence, which was nice. After we had a conversation, that fence is about to leave, and they're about to sell that building. So hopefully in the coming months, we'll have the fence down and the property looking a lot better, and potentially new residents. I'm still trying to get to the property owner or property management company of the two properties on Fairlawn, which are empty and have been empty for quite some time. But again, one challenge at a time, and we'll get there sooner or later. Next month, I expect to have a bunch of guests. So April is also my birthday, so I'm excited about that. But the day before or the day after, we'll have the 22nd is, I think, our meeting in April, since there's 5 Tuesdays in April. But Tuesday, that meeting will be sort of jam-packed with a lot of updates. We're going to have somebody from the Ward 8 Wellness, the Ward 8 Senior Wellness Center, who is going to discuss with us events about what's happening in our own community, and well, specifically in regards to the Wellness Center. So there's been a lot of talk about the Wellness Center, and people have asked me. So a lot of people didn't even know about it. Some people have, thought it kind of fell off the schedule, but the Wellness Center is expected to break ground this year. I've seen right now they're working on like types of furniture and stuff that are going to go in it, but there's been a whole group of people and community members who have been, some that are actually on the meeting who have been working for quite some time now. But the project went out to bid for contractors, and so the project is scheduled for a groundbreaking sometime by the end of the year. So we can look forward to that activity in the neighborhood, but in that new resource that will be available to our seniors in the ward. I have not been shy of discussing some politics, although right now we don't have a council member. It is a very concerning thing for us. We don't have our council member that is advocating on behalf of Ward 8 in regards to the budget. And however, we are relying on our at-large council members to be doing that. There is a meeting Thursday with, bear with me 1 second. Thursday with Charles, or Councilmember Allen. That will be at 1913 Martin Luther King Avenue from starting at 10 o'clock. He'll be in the community. I'll be attending that. And then, let's see. We've got, we just had the town hall with Mendelson, with Chairman Mendelson. So there's a lot happening in the community. There's a lot more that's happening in our community with the new the council member. There's a long list of candidates who are running. I encourage you to please get involved, listen to their platform, make sure that the person that you want running represents you and your interests well. You are in charge. This is your community. Just like with me, I hold them accountable. Ask the questions you think and want to get answers for, and make sure that when you go into the ballot box that you are voting for the person that best represents you and in your view in the community. So please get involved and be aware of the candidates and listen to them all. Just don't listen to the ones that you may or may not, that you may know their name or a little bit about them, but engage with them, have them invite them to your organization meetings to be heard, things like that. So with that all said, because I've now probably spoken your ear off, I wanted to give an opportunity to open it to the community, because most of you don't have your cameras on, but if we do go, or when we do go into a real, live, hopefully at Kramer, where we're meeting in person as well. When, part of this experience of Advisory Neighborhood Commission is provides an opportunity for you to get to know your neighbors and see who your neighbors are. And you just never know. You might bump into somebody at the grocery store or walk past a neighbor that you've never met. So I wanted to just open this up to an opportunity of introducing yourselves. I know there's not a bunch of, yes, the meeting is Thursday, and the address again, I think was 1913. It's 1913 Martin Luther King Avenue. It's I think it's a new restaurant that opened up towards the corner there. But yeah, 1913. If anybody wants to open their mic up and or show their cam and sort of introduce themselves, tell themselves a little bit about themselves, maybe what block you're on. You don't have to necessarily say what what your address is, but this is a great way for us to be able to meet each other, see each other, get to know each other. And so I wanted to make sure I'm going to try to start doing this more often, or if not every meeting, giving an opportunity for you to be able to talk to and show yourself. The other thing I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to feature an animal that's up for rescue every meeting starting in April. I know I'm looking for one. If those of my neighbors that know who I am know that I'm sorely miss my dog Dusty. I, so I can't wait. I'm slowly starting to look. It's been a little bit over a year, and so I know a lot of the neighbors who knew Dusty also miss him too. So I'd be looking. Like I'm thinking that we might be just a picture like kind of like what they do on ABC4, where they feature a dog or an animal that's up for adoption. But we'll work on that for April. For now, anybody that wants to introduce themselves, see if they can raise their hand or just unmute themselves and turn on their cam if they want, and let's just introduce each other.
Well, I'll go first.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you.
Hey, let me take I look a mess, but whatever. I can still show my face. Hello, everyone. I'm Robin Henderson. I live on 22nd Street Southeast, and I've been living around here probably around 13 years now. Tom is my neighbor. I love him dearly. He's very supportive for me and my family all the time. I absolutely miss Dusty. He was my friend as well. And I'm glad we get to introduce ourselves because I really want to meet my neighbors. And I noticed Miss Stephanie is on the phone. I'm good friends with her son, John, and her stepdaughter, Sheena. So daughter-in-law Sheena. I'm sorry, daughter-in-law Sheena. So hello everyone, and hopefully we can get together face to face when the weather breaks.
And that reminds me, we are in the process of final approvals for a Juneteenth block party. It will be happening on Naylor Road. And one of the things, so that's upcoming. One of the things I would like to have is in the coming months, and I got to work out the logistics of things, but you know, this community has lost a lot of people. People that we have lost too early, too soon. And I don't know what it would be called, but it would be nice to have a moment where we can sort of recognize our neighbors that are no longer around us and celebrate the life that they had on this world, and just recognize that they were our neighbors and that they were missed. So somewhere maybe towards the end of the summer or something like that, we can sort of recognize those family members and have help bring attention to some of the murders or things that have occurred in our neighborhood as well, that we can pass out these flowers and maybe jumpstart some new leads and stuff. So just to chime in on that. Who else would like to take a moment?
Carol Gasperson. I've lived on 22nd Street for about 46 years. I bought my house when it was new. If you remember when there were 8 townhouses down towards the park that were all brand new, built at the same time. And we were all into getting to know each other. So we used to have picnics in the backyard, and we only put a fence around the periphery. We didn't put it in between houses, and front and back. And it's managed to stay that way. We're hoping. We have a new neighbor coming in that bought Danny Harrison's house, which is 1421. Well, I was going to ask you, what time is Charles Allen's meeting?
I think it said it. Let me double check. I think it's at 10 o'clock.
Is that the Starbucks?
I don't think it's the Starbucks. No, it's 10 o'clock. Yeah. Let me just Google that address real quick. I know it's a restaurant. I just forget the name of it. Grounded.
Oh, that looks like coffee. Grounded?
What's that?
That sounds like coffee. Grounded.
I think it's something. I think they offer other things as well. But I know Miss Hudson, you had put your video on. Congratulations on your permit approvals and everything for green light to to open those doors. I welcome and congratulations with that. I saw that you achieved all that, so that's good. I think that's everything you need. But so congratulations. Miss Hudson is a her whole family is. I had the pleasure of meeting them about maybe a little less than a year ago or so, and I had the chance to walk through those new apartments. Carol, Miss Hudson, Carol is your neighbor. Miss Hudson, Carol, Miss Hudson opened the new apartments just a couple doors down from you, like really like right at the intersection there.
Yeah.
Because it's right at the intersection. So Carol lives right down like a little like four doors down from the
Yeah,
new.
the first house of the 8, next to the White House.
Yeah, it has like how many
Correct.
units does it have?
It's 9 units. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Tom. This has been a great meeting. It's 9 units and it's a small, intimate space that we also want to be able to offer some resident programming. One of them is a renter to ownership program called the Steward Program, where we want to bring in our community partners to help with providing credit repair, some food access, or we'll grow some food there and things like that. So we're excited to get started. We have not started moving people in yet, but we are working on it. And so I'm looking forward to being a good neighbor and yeah, enjoying 22nd Street. We're right by Anacostia Park, which I enjoy. I bike it often from Anacostia to College Park. And so, yeah, just looking forward to being a good neighbor and of course, getting the building rented. So glad to be here and good night to everyone. Thank you.
Well, Miss Hudson, it's a pleasure to have met you. And like I said, I started talking about your family. Her family is a family that has provided a lot of services to our community. They're firefighters. I was impressed with the conversation so much that I still remember that conversation very clearly. And was glad to hear of a family that has such a long history of caring for our community and doing whatever they can for our community. So your way of continuing that through your endeavor is recognizable and thankful, and we're glad that you're here. So, and I agree. Anacostia Park, folks, if you have not heard, there are some exciting things coming to the park. We may have the biggest pickleboard court forthcoming. And so if you travel the park right now, I will warn you, be careful. It is dark. I recently rode through the park at night, and I was on my way over to Mama's Pizza to get some food and on a bike, and realized that I counted 25 lights that are out. And I have notified the park. I have done everything I can to bring some attention to it. Hopefully they will be working on it. I don't know if they're delaying because of all the work that they're going to be doing. Either way, the park is dark. And if you know me well, then you know I was also assaulted in the end of 2023 at the park by a complete unknown stranger. I'd fractured my wrist. So was it, or was it last year? Anyway, I have a reason to want to make sure that the park is safe for everyone. We finally got the lights on the underpass, 295 overpass, finally lit and at least bright, so that's safer. So look, it's little things every day, every week that we sort of we just pick on, and we continue to, and we make progress. And with all of your help and encouragement, and we are already making our community and our neighborhood a better place to live in the way that we want to live it. You all live there, so please continue to provide insight, provide feedback, be involved, and our neighborhood will be the way that we want it one day. I promise you. So, anybody else want to chime in or introduce themselves?
Have you talked about Poplar Point yet?
Oh, no, actually I haven't. Good point. And I might try to have them. We just had a brief conversation, a brief introduction about Poplar Point. There's a lot of things coming into Poplar Point. I'll try to put something together for our next meeting as well. I mean, the area in general is really just growing. And you know, we always we had a meeting with the folks over at Poplar Point in regards to their buildings and affordable housing and stuff like that. I mean, just because these buildings are coming in, your commission is constantly asking the questions that need to be asked about you know, everyday citizens and those, making sure that there are affordable housing units coming into these units, to these new buildings in these new areas. So it's something that I've seen personally from our commission, and that they are very dedicated to. So it certainly makes the community a lot better, and gives us more things to do too. So I will try to have something put together for our for our April meeting in regard, in addition to those will be the two big topics I think will be our Ward 8 Wellness Center, and then Poplar Point will have a presentation done for us as well. So got about 10 minutes or so left. Anybody else have anything they'd like to add? Any concerns, questions, comments? Now is your chance to bring something to the community. Anybody have kids? We never talk about the schools and the school districts. If there's any concerns or issues with that, I may not have children, but I want to recognize the fact that the kids, our kids in our neighborhoods are also our future leaders, and so I want to make sure that if there's anything that we can do to address how well our students are doing is important as well. So just because I don't have kids, don't mean that I certainly am not thinking about the kids as well, the folks over at Boone and Kramer and Acacia High School. I mean, between the three schools, we have, you know, our future leaders right in front of us. So anybody else want to talk, introduce themselves for the last couple minutes?
Hello, my name is Marissa McDuffie. It was a pleasure meeting you, Ms. Henderson and Ms. Casperson, and congratulations, Ms. Hudson. And I just wanted to say that I have noticed the improvements within the neighborhood from Boone Elementary all the way to 17th Street. Those are my everyday travel areas, and I have seen great improvements. And I look forward to meeting you all in person someday. All right. And thank you, Tom, for all of your efforts and hard work and bringing us together.
Well, we hear the kids in the background, so it sounds like you probably keep busy yourself, Miss McDuffie. So thank you for coming in and attending the meetings and being you know, being informed and just you know, being part of the community. It is really appreciated. Anybody else would like to say a thing or two? Okay. Well, again, I want to thank everyone for attending. I finally will be having cards hopefully this week. I just had some printed while our commissioners are figuring out what they're gonna, what sort of design and everything that they're gonna do. It'll probably take months before they get theirs, but I'm running into a lot of our neighbors and wanting to make sure that they have something to give them so that they can go to our website, so they can sign up for the meetings and become more involved. So you know, I'm hoping that we have grown our mailing list significantly. Hopefully, I'm not sending too many emails or keeping you as informed as possible. I know that it was important to me when I found out about the shooting on the bus that the suspect went into the neighborhood, that you all knew about that as soon as possible. So I sent that alert out. You know, the more that we are connected, the more that we are informed, the better our community will be. And so anytime that I have, you know, information, I will definitely share it. The other thing is I try to share information on my Facebook page, which I will put in the chat now. I think this is it. The other thing is I'm tweaking our website as well for community resources. There's I'm gonna put some flyers up that about like where you can get free diapers and other various resources. The other thing I'm going to slowly start to put my attention to is our small businesses. As you may know, I'm a photographer and videographer, and so I own my own small business myself. And so I want to identify who our small businesses are in our community, in our neighborhoods. If you have a small business, please let me know. I'd like to be able to even maybe do a community day where we all our small businesses come out onto Minnesota Avenue or something, some high visible area, and we set up a table and we introduce our small businesses to our community. Something like that, where exposing the hard work that we do every day. You never know who could be your next client or customer. So I have a lot of ideas as far as that. And if you have ideas and want to suggest an idea, please let me know. This Thursday, I believe, this Thursday, there'll be a bunch of tables of community resources out. Commissioner Davis, which is on the other side of Minnesota Avenue, and some of Councilmember McDuffie's office, and the Office of Tenant Advocate, and I collect their pens because I'm always out of pens. There's another agency, but you'll see them out in front of this, right across on the other side of Boone. I think it's this Thursday. So if you get a chance and stop by, there's some really good organizations and district agencies that can be a really good resource. So feel free to stop and introduce yourselves and say hi. I'm still addressing, and I'm trying to come up with a better plan for the activity that's still happening in front of Boone. It's not an easy thing to address. However, we're working on it, and I am aware of it. I know it continues to be a concern of our neighbors, especially with it being in front of an elementary school. But just know that I walk that area nearly every day, if not every day. I know that they have seen my looks, and I have seen firsthand the activity that's going on, and so the community is aware, law enforcement is aware, and so anybody that's conducting themselves inappropriately in front of that elementary school should be on warning that they need to move along, and they shouldn't be doing it at all. But certainly shouldn't be doing any sort of activity like that in front of an elementary school. It is not accepted or tolerated. So they will deal with the consequences as is, but we are trying to come up with a plan. And so let this be there for fair warning that it will be addressed. So thank you for attending tonight's meeting. I'm always available. You can reach me at 202-660-9950 or at tom.donahue@anc.dc.gov, and pretty much accessible at any time. So if you call me at 3 o'clock in the morning, I probably will be up, but just be aware that I'll probably be cranky. So anyway, thank you for everyone. Thank you for everything you're doing in our communities, and feel free to reach out to me if you need things. So I'll stay on the line if anybody wants to chat with me for a few minutes. Otherwise, we'll end the meeting, and I say good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Great information. Good night.
Thanks, Ms. Parker.
Hi, sorry. So I wanted to stay behind because you mentioned something that is extremely important.
Pause for 1 second. So I don't want. I'm still recording. Do you want me to? Is it like a private matter?
Yes.
Okay, hold on 1 second.